With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on.
Yeah, there it is. President Trump doubling down on his threat to impose more tariffs on China if they do not remove the ones on the United States. The president saying if China doesn't meet the 12 o'clock deadline, then he'll put an additional 50% tariff on its imports. That would put it, by the way, if you just crunch all the numbers, above 100% tariffs on China.
Wow, and it comes after the president placed a number of tariffs on countries all over the world last week as part of the Liberation Day. Trump administration officials say the tariffs, specifically those on China, are in the best interest of national security. Luke Rabari joins us now, CEO of Equity Armor Investments, and Gordon Chang is here, author of The Coming Collapse of China and also Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on. Luke, let me start with you. Is this an effective strategy dealing with China, the threats of the additional 50% tariff on the country?
Good morning, guys. I think it has to be something. Now, whether it starts with this 50%, I think this is just going to be the start. But I think the president is right about a lot of stuff he says about trade with China, also the intellectual property problem, et cetera, et cetera. But I think what you're going to see is the fact that it has in American companies, some of the big ones that have a lot of production there, maybe Nike, Apple, et cetera. But there's going to be a second wave, and that's going to be access to U.S. capital markets for Chinese companies. You got to remember Baidu, and some of the other big Chinese companies that have ADRs here, is access to the U.S. capital markets investor base, which is the largest in the world, going to be cut off to the Chinese. And I think that's a next wave of actions that we should be looking at.
Gordon, with that announcement, China doesn't sound like it's backing down anytime soon. A statement was put out by China's Ministry of Commerce saying, quote, the countermeasures China has taken are aimed at safeguarding its sovereignty, security, and development interests and maintaining the normal international trade order. They are completely legitimate. The U.S. threat to escalate tariffs on China is a mistake on top of a mistake and once again exposes the blackmailing nature of the United States. China will never accept this. If the U.S. insists on its own way, China will fight to the end, unquote. What do you think they mean by that, Gordon?
It means they're not giving up anytime soon. It also means that Xi Jinping has configured the Chinese political system so that only the most hostile answers are considered to be acceptable, which means that China cannot do what is rational and what it is in its best interest, which is to talk to the Trump administration and try to come to terms. The problem for China right now is that it's not holding any high cards. It is a smaller economy than ours, and it's the trade surplus country. Last year, China's merchandise trade surplus against the U.S. was an astounding $295.4 billion. So if they're going to fight to the end, China is going to end pretty soon because it just does not have any leverage over President Trump.
There you go. That's a good place to be if you're the United States at the bargaining table. And yes, as Sean's been reporting, the White House coming forward saying other countries and their leaders are picking up the phone, trying to get some time to speak with the president. That's Luke Rabari and Gordon Chang joining us this morning. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.